In today's presentation, I'm going to show you guys how MQTT communication works and how I used it from my real-time communication project here. So let's go to the next slide. Let's explain what MQTT is. So MQTT is basically a messaging protocol primarily developed for low bandwidth, high latency communications to monitoring oil pipelines over unreliable satellite networks. So the reason it was developed is because traditional protocols like HTTP or AMQ were too heavy for embedded systems. Heavy in the sense that HTTP requires high bandwidth, and in order to send a high bandwidth signals, IoT device requires a lot of power, and also satellite communications do not have that high bandwidth to support HTTP. So a lighter weight and efficient communication protocol was developed which consumes lower power and requires minimal data usage for communications. Now let's see how MQTT works. How does it work? So unlike traditional HTTP, which there is a server and there is a client, the client sends a request to the server and the server responds with the response and the data. MQTT works a bit differently. So how does it work? So it uses a publish subscriber model. So what happens is that there are publishers and there are subscribers. So publishers publishes to a topic, and those topics are hosted in what is called a MQTT broker, and subscribers subscribe to those topics to get the data. So this is how data is sent using MQTT. There are publishers, there are subscribers, and the broker acts as a middleman here. In the next slides, we will see an illustration of how I used this whole concept of subscriber, publisher, and broker in my entire project. So this is basically an illustration of how I used MQTT in my project. So there are two devices, a server Raspberry Pi and a shovel Raspberry Pi. The server acts as both as a client and a broker. So usually there are third-party brokers who can be used. There are plethora. You can just go into the internet and figure it out. But for my use case, I'm using it something which is very much local, and as I'm using everything in the local network, so I'm using my own broker here. So what happens is that, let's say there's a publisher in the client side, which is in the server. It publishes to topic 2, and the shoveler Raspberry Pi subscribes and get those messages back. Similarly, the shoveler Raspberry Pi publisher publishes to topic 1, and the server Raspberry Pi retrieves that message from topic 1 as a subscriber. So here the server acts as both a client and a broker, and also the shoveler Raspberry Pi is just acting as a client, nothing else. So in the next slide, I just posted some resources for more reading, so to have a more understanding, and all the resources I have for this presentation. So this will give you a better understanding of what MQTT is, how to use it, tutorials, and everything. Now let's move on to a demo on how I used it in the project. So for the demo, this is the server Raspberry Pi, which is I have SSH into. This is my server here. So there are two terminals. On the terminal on the left is going to be my publisher, and terminal on the right is my subscriber. So I've already started running the subscriber code, which we see that we have subscribed to test/topic here. And to demonstrate the shoveler Raspberry Pi, I'm going to use a separate terminal. This is my local PC, which is my Mac here, which is also similarly two things. This is on the left, there is going to be the publisher, which is going to be publishing data, like sending data to the server, and on the right I've already started the subscriber, which is subscribed to test2/topics, where we're going to receive messages. So let's send some data from my Mac to my server here. So let's start sending some data. Okay, we might face some. Okay, no. So this is the message that is getting sent here, and if we see, we are receiving it over here. So data is getting sent from the shoveler here, which is my Mac here, and to the server here, which is my Raspberry Pi here. So let's do something similar. Let's send some data from the server to my Mac, which is server my Raspberry Pi basically. So let's run the publisher code. So this is some of the data that is getting sent, and we will see that we are receiving this is in test topic 2. So this is the data getting sent to the Raspberry Pi, and this is the data the Raspberry Pi sends to my Mac, and I'm getting received over here. So this basically concludes the demo and everything. I hope you guys found it informative, and thank you very much. Goodbye.